So first, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, to Master Sakya Zhengkong, the 16th Dharma King Karmapa, and Master Dupten Dorje. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Singamuka Sentongma, the lion-faced Dakini. Simu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, temple directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. And our guest of honor today, accountant of the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. And the attorney to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Tso and her son. And the producer for the Illuminating Your Heart of the CTI TV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Su. Dr. Tso and Dr. Zhuang. And many more disciples from faraway places. And all participants in here, let's applaud for yourself. How are you, everyone? How do you do? So the Homa that we had today is of Singamuka, the lion-faced Dakini. Oh, but we should first say something about the Homa next week. Sunday, September 22nd at 3 p.m. There would be a Homa, and the main deity is Kalachakra. That's the end of the introduction. Because we have talked about Kalachakra so much, and everyone knows about him. And Kalachakra is revered and worshipped in the all four sects of Tibetan Tantrayana. So Kalachakra is truly precious, and we all know about Kalachakra Dharma practice, and there are many people who have received Kalachakra empowerments. And in the world, there are only a few great living Buddhas who are transmitting Kalachakra these days. And in the Han world, in the Chinese people, among the Chinese people, I don't know whether I am the only one. Maybe there are other people, I don't know. So the main deity of the Homa today is Singamuka Sentongma. So she is one of the three greatest protectors in Nyingmapa. So Sentongma, that's lion-faced Dakini, and Asongma, that's Egajati, and then Rahula. They are the three greatest protectors, and Sentongma is the first of this greatest protector in Nyingmapa. And not only first and foremost protector, she is also the first and greatest Dakini. And her Dharma body, Dharmakaya, is Prajna Buddha Mother. And her Sambhogakaya, or the reward body, is Dorje Phamo. And her Nirmanakaya, or physical body, is this Sentongma. So Sentongma once helped Guru Padmasambhava. When Guru Padmasambhava had a battle against the 500 cultists, So Sentong Ma descended and taught him about the repelling and protecting mantra of Sentong Ma. So when Guru Padmasambhava chanted this mantra, whatever that were inflicted upon, that was sent by this cultist to the Guru Padmasambhava, it would be returned back to them. So that's the mantra to repel. So the curse or the black magic or the mantra that was sent by the deviant group was sent back to the originator. And this mantra was truly powerful. So in a very short time, Guru Padmasambhava could win over this 500 deviant people from the cults. So last week I didn't say how great she is. Today I will talk about how great Sentong Ma is. Very simple. What is the most fierce animal on earth? That's lion. So the lions are the most fierce. So we often tell this joke that the Africans often win the marathon run. Why? Because they used to be chased by the lions when they were little. So of course they ran very fast. So lions are very ferocious and they run very fast. Let me tell you another joke. Someone said, so I said goodbye to my wife to go to Africa to kill the tiger. But there are no tigers in Africa. There are only lions in Africa. Do you know? So if you say that to your wife, there are no tigers in Africa. There are only lions, and lions are the most wrathful. So this deity transformed to become the lion-faced Dakini. That means that she is the most wrathful and fierce Dakini, and the most wrathful protector as well. Once you have fruition in her practice, nobody would dare to curse you, to cast a spell on you or black magic. A lot of people are scared and worried that they are being cursed. But for this deity, if you recite the mantra for repelling, then none of those would affect you at all, would bother you. Because the primary supplicants today are not very many. That's why I want to tell. So if you don't become the primary supplicant and in the future someone casts a spell or curse on you, you don't need to ask help from me, but you can be the primary supplicant with this deity and create a good affinity with her, then none of those black magic would ever touch you. If they cast a spell or mantra on you and you just recite the mantra, the repelling mantra, that person would have to suffer from his own deed. Say if a black magician put a curse on you so that you would be limping and you recite the mantra for repelling, then he would fall off his bed and hurt his legs. Like the thimble? Like the thimble, it's a symbol. Then, like you put the enemy between that, and then you clang the symbols, then they would bleed. So she has this power. So that's why she is regarded as the most ferocious and wrathful Dakini. So you did not become the primary supplicants. Now you would regret and cry your eyes out. And her mudra, first inward and straighten your both thumbs, middle fingers, and pinkies. And the other two fingers are inward. So this looks like a lion face. This is her mudra. And the mantra. That's her mantra. And the repelling mantra, as I have taught you before, I had mentioned that before. So if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. That had to be transmitted in secret, one-on-one. So the repelling mantra is considered to be the exoteric, the secret mantra, because this mantra is too powerful. Say if you are by the lake and you recite very loudly this repelling mantra, the dragon gods inside the lake would die. So you cannot recite it by the water, not near lake, oceans. You cannot recite this repelling mantra. So it is best to recite Singamuka's mantra silently or quietly. So if you recite it loudly, it could injure others. It could harm others. So with the mantra and her image, her look, like here, and her mudra, that would comprise the Singamuka Yidam practice. So her mantra chanting practice, True Buddha Foundation has compiled the practice procedure, the mantra chanting practice procedure, right? Yes, they are available. So lions are the most fierce, and all the spirits seeing the lions would run away and scared. So any animals in meeting the lion face Dakini, they would turn and run. So the mudra is called the victorious, the absolutely victorious mudra. So Wusong is a legend in China. The Wusong can win over a tiger, but it was never said that he won over a lion. So lion is even more ferocious or better than a tiger. Now we'll continue talking about the Great Perfection Dharma. So for any yidam, we have to set up an altar, right? Like at home, we have an altar. But for the Great Perfection practice, say when you're practicing seeing the lights, or for the true understanding of the mind, or seeing the Buddha nature, or when you practice talk or cheche, you don't need an altar. So we could say that for any tantric practice, almost all of them, we would need to set up an altar, except this Great Perfection Dharma for talk and cheche. You don't need an altar. Why? Because there's not the necessity for the outer altar, because your body is an altar. So if you really need an altar for your great perfection Dharma practice, then you can hang a refuge tree of the Nyingma, Guru Padmasambhava at the center, and then above it all the lineage gurus of the great perfection, and Guru Padmasambhava in front at the center, and then around him would be the arhats, 16 arhats and 500 arhats, and here on the right Manjushri Bodhisattva, and here on the left is the Sariputra as the head for the head of the 18 arhats, and here on the right is Manjushri Bodhisattva as the head, and behind are all the great perfection sutras, and underneath are all the protectors and dakinis. So that's a refuge tree. That would be the altar for the Nyingma practice. So Guru Padmasambhava at the center. So then it's fine if you don't need an altar, you don't have an altar. So what's unique about the great perfection practice is there's no need for an altar, because the practitioner, him or herself, is an altar. So it has such power that your body is the altar. So please don't mistake it, because sometimes mistakes are made. There's this joke. A husband and a wife are sleeping on a bed, and the husband is sneezing on his wife's face. And the wife told him, tell me ahead of time before this will happen in the future. And after a while, the husband said, ready. So the wife immediately hid inside the blanket, and it turned out the husband farted. So if it's not from the top, it's from the bottom. There are two passages. So in the great perfection Dharma, there is no need for an altar, because your body is an altar. And how do you set out? Vairocana Buddha here at the brow point, brow chakra, Vairocana Buddha. On the throat chakra, Amitabha Buddha. On the heart chakra, Akshobha Buddha. On the navel chakra, Ratnasambhava Buddha. On the secret chakra, Amoghasiddhi Buddha. So the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are on your body, and there are many more deities, and all of your body are all deities. So your body is the altar. And how about making offering? So eating is offering. Makan nasi. Eating is an offering. Eating in Indonesian, in Cantonese, in Mandarin. It's breakfast. And supper. That's all offerings. So by offering to your body, it's the same as making offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So in the great perfection Dharma practice, there's not offerings. There are 3 postures that you could do. One is the elephant posture, is you're kneeling and your hands are like this on your chin, And the second posture is the lion posture. 2 feet, the sole of your feet facing each other, and your legs are forming a triangle, and both hands is on your seat inside your legs like a lion. So your hands are like this, and the soles are touching each other, the soles of the feet. And then the third posture is the sage or saint posture. That's the same as a beggar. So you have become a saint or a sage, so you can sit as you like. So it's similar to the 6 Milarepa's 6-point posture. But actually the feet are parallel to each other, and the 2 knees are on your chest, and then the 2 arms are wrapping around your legs, your lower legs. So you sit in these 3 postures to see the lights. And in the future I will teach which posture to see which light. So your body is the altar. So there's no need to set up an altar. Like when you see the light, there's no need, right? So Grandmaster last night at the Seattle Lezang Temple said that Grandmaster saw lights, and eventually, ultimately, I see movies. What does it mean? I have to go to the movie theater and pay money to see the movie? No. Say if I want to see what a disciple is doing at that time, I would lay on the bed and cover myself with blanket up to here, close my eyes, then I turn my mind to the brainwave of that disciple, and then there would be a screen in front of me, like a monitor, and whatever the disciple is doing, I could see. And then recently, I don't do that anymore, because I've seen too many ugly things. And I thought that's not good. Why? Because it's affecting me. At night, before bed, I would see what the disciples are doing. My precious disciples. And then when I see it with my dead eyes, and they're doing that, oh no. And they cried out loud. I couldn't fall asleep anymore. Then I would lose sleep. That's not a good thing. So I don't see it anymore. So I tell all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, don't show me those movies anymore, those scenes anymore. Like, who does what, and they always show me. No need anymore. And it's better not to know. So if you don't see it, then there's no issue, no problem. Because if you see it, then it turns out that it is really yuck. Like, say, in front of me, they look good, but then at home, they fart all they want, and they pick on their nose. And some people in the morning, they look really horrible. But when they come and see me, but when there are nobody around, they did all that. And there's some even more horrible, even worse. And so it's better not to see them. Sometimes, like after you're able to see the lights, you would be able to read the news. Like I said last night, they would show me the newspaper, the headlines, the big news. So you can see the headlines or all the writings. So I would read the newspaper ahead of time. And in the past, I did all that. And these days, I told them, no, I don't want to see them. You always show me all those bad news, and you don't tell me the good news. And when I see that, I would feel sad and upset. So it's better not to know. When the time, when it's there, it's there. There's no need to see it ahead of time. It's better not to see them, not to hear them, not to say. Then you have no worries, no troubles whatsoever. But if you hear, you see, or you talk, then those are all not pure, not clean. You think premonition or knowing ahead of time is a good thing, then you can predict. No, that's not good. Why do you want to be a psychic, like to see the futures or the past of people? It's best to be the awakened one, the realized one, for the moment. So if you have a divine eye, or say the third eye, or the fourth eye, fifth eye, sixth eye, seventh eye, or eyes all over your body, that's not necessarily good. But if you train inward, train yourself, that's fine. But if you see the outside world, that's not good. That's not necessarily good to see. If you're psychic and you know what's in other people's mind, and you see someone, although they're smiling at you, you would know that they're actually cursing at you. So what good is that? It's better not to know. Then you would feel better. If you hear that they're cursing you at heart, that's not good. So knowing what's on everybody's mind, what's good is that? How many people are really kind and nice to you? Not many at all. But people who are antipathy toward you are many. So what benefit is that? And but what benefit is supernatural power? No benefits. It's better if you control yourself and you subdue yourself, that you train yourself. We should transform our own 5 poisons to become 5 wisdoms. Say like for the greed or desire, anger, aggression, the ignorance or foolishness, pride and doubt, to become the 5 great wisdoms. And those who practice great perfection Dharma, naturally, they transform these 5 poisons to become something good. Just now when I made the offerings, like we offered something black, like black sesame seeds. I pick a bowl of that and visualize to be many, many black sesame seeds, and then burn them to become fire, is to eradicate all your black karma from all previous lives. And we also made offering of the white sesame seeds, and that's to increase our good karma, that all we do are good. And honey, that's to transform all the bitterness or sufferings into sweetness. And then you made offering of the sandalwood powder or the incense powder, that is to beautify the Buddha lands. And you also made offerings of seeds, and that is to increase your attainments and fruitions, because you made offering of seeds that you would increase your fruition. So if you were of the lower lotus grade, you would become like the middle grade or even higher. What else did we offer? We also made offering of tea leaves or tea, or representing water, so to increase our wealth, our resources, so that all of our needs are satisfied. And also offering of lamp or oil, so that we have infinite radiance, that there is light inside our heart, that all the 5 poisons are eliminated. So in making offering of all these things, is we are transforming the 5 poisons into 5 wisdoms. So if there is light in your heart, you don't have any more doubts or skepticism. If you still have doubts, that means you still have darkness inside your heart. So when you make offering of lamp or light, so that we gain radiance. And some people make offering of lamp for kids in school, is so that their study goes really well, bright, that they become bright. So the Buddhas have 5 wisdoms, and we transform this way, and our offering too can help us to transform those 5 poisons into 5 wisdoms. So most people see the Buddha or the Buddha land after they die. Spiritual cultivators, whether they are Mahayana or Tantrayana practitioners, they only have the Buddha appear after they die, when they're in Bardo. So because you are mindful of the Buddhas, recite them, visualize his look, recite their mantra, and call on their names. But most people never see the Buddhas and don't feel them. But when you are in Bardo, when you become spirit, when you're just at the moment of death, they would appear, or after death. So most human beings would be able to tell the mastery of your spiritual cultivation at death, at the time of death. You recite Om Amidevashe, and you visualize Amitabha Buddha, and you kyang while circumambulating and chanting. So, because we generally chant Amitabha. So you keep calling his name, and my mind is continually visualizing him, and the whole sky become Amitabha Buddha. So every day when I circumambulate chanting, my mouth is chanting, and my eyes is seeing the Amitabha Buddha in the sky. And the great perfection Dharma practitioner, you would see the Buddhas when they're alive. But some people who don't practice seeing the light, they could only see the Buddhas after death. After your soul or your light appears, and you would be able to see their lights, or your eyes coming out to see their eyes. So practicing great perfection Dharma, you would be able to see the Buddhas while you're alive. You don't have to wait until you die. There's this joke. There's a black dog and a white rabbit pooing on grass together. And after they're done, the black dog asks the white rabbit, "Do you mind that my poo mark on your white fur?" And the rabbit said, "No problem." And the dog said, "Oh, then that would be good." Then the dog catch the white rabbit and clean his anus. So you never knew what would happen. People, only after they die, they would know what happened. Before death, they don't know. So, if you do the practice of great perfection Dharma, and you would be able to see the lights when you're still alive, and then you collect all the lights, would become Amitabha Buddha. Every night, I would be chanting Amitabha Buddha after dinner, and after I brush my teeth, I would make prostrations, and then I started circumambulating. So I also chant the Amitabha Buddha, and then my eyes are looking at the sky, and in the sky there is Amitabha Buddha. It's an illusory body, not the physical body, but it is manifested. And he has the aura, his look, his eyes, his physical body, and the face. And then there is the syllable on the chest, and then the hand, one is holding lotus, the other hand is like giving, and he's standing on a lotus throne. So I walk and chant and mindful of him, keep looking at him, and then he would descend upon my body, and I would feel the feeling of the Buddha entering into my body, and when the light is showered upon you. So that's how you should circumambulate and chant Amitabha Buddha. If you can reach that, then you're about to have the attainment. So you would be able to see while alive. You don't have to wait until you die. So who knows, maybe after you die, it would be really hard to see the Buddha. Who knows, maybe you're chanting in your mouth, but your mind is thinking of something else, thinking of your wife, then you have all these running thoughts, and then at the moment of death, and you still have all kinds of thoughts, then you would not be able to see the Buddha even at that time. Then you would be reincarnated. So when you chant the Buddha, you need to be focused. You need to visualize, recite the Amitabha Buddha, and visualize and recite and focus. So that's the key formula, the true key formula in chanting Amitabha Buddha. So the mastery of spiritual cultivation could be told by whether you would be able to see the Buddha when you're still alive. Here's another joke about dog. So Along on a red light wanting to cross the street, and there was a blind man with the dog wanting to cross the road. But when it's a walk, the dog didn't bring the blind man crossing the road. Instead, the dog was peeing on his leg, and the blind man took a biscuit and gave it to the dog. So Along told the blind man, "If that's my dog, I would have kicked him." And the blind man said, "Yeah, I was going to kick him, but I have to find his head first." So the blind man cannot see, but he has a way. So by giving a biscuit to the dog, he would know where the head of the dog is, then he would know where to kick. So although the blind man cannot see, he would know where the head of the dog is, or the body, or the bottom. That's a method, right? So when you're chanting Amitabha Buddha, although you cannot see the Buddha, you can visualize. You can chant his name, you can be mindful of him. Then you wouldn't think of all the destructive thoughts. So like for me, if I see the Buddha, I'm mindful of the Buddha, I don't have any other thoughts. But if you don't see the Buddha, then you would have all those running thoughts. Although your mouth is chanting, but your mind is not mindful. So this is important. This is a method I'm teaching you. So you need to see the Buddha or visualize the Buddha, and you need to chant the Buddha this way. And on your mind, there is a look of the Buddha imprinted on your brain. And then you continually increase your good karma. And in the future, after death, you would be able to see the Buddha appearing. Or you can practice talk and practice to see the lights. And then when the lights appear, that would be even better. Actually, the great perfection Dharma practice is really fast, really swift. So the black retreat of the great perfection also has something that's like 7 days attaining Buddhahood. Attaining Buddhahood in 7 days. But not necessarily everyone every 7 days. So like someone thought, okay, there's this Dharma practice, they would put themselves in a dark room, completely dark room, and then there is a lamp, And for 7 days and nights, they just observe that light and to transform themselves to become that light, and then would emit the light. But not necessarily everyone can do that or attain that. But there is that Dharma practice exist. That would be the swiftest tantric Dharma practice. Because generally, the common tantric Dharma practice is rather slow. You need to gain spiritual response with the yidam first. And once you gain the spiritual response, the yidam is always around you. But the talk Dharma practice is you keep looking at that light, electric light, until everything is filled with light and your body is filled with light. And at that time, your whole body would be eyes. They're all eyes. Then you would be able to see. That's very easy and very fast. And in practicing Yidam, the main deity, many masters are practicing, many reference, and many people do the practice of the Yidams, and some of them still don't gain spiritual response. And some of them don't even gain spiritual response with the guru, with the root guru. And because they have not gained the spiritual response with the root guru, it's possible that they abandon the spiritual practice. Because once you gain the spiritual response, you would be able to feel the blessings and the empowerments of the root guru or the yidam at all moments. So how could you abandon your spiritual cultivation? It's impossible. So like Grandmaster has gained spiritual response with the yidam. So at any time I can invoke the yidam. So how could you abandon it? Because there's no way to abandon. Because say if I go backward, even behind me, there would be yidam. Whether I go right or I go left, they're everywhere. Because the yidam is always with you. So how could you, where would you go? There's no place to go. Where would you abandon? So those who abandon the spiritual path, they don't have spiritual response. So if you're a Vajra master and you don't gain spiritual response with the root guru or with the yidam, then you're just a fake master, or the same with the monks and nuns. So it's a very simple theory. Anyone who abandons spiritual path, that means they are fake. Otherwise, with a thought, with an invocation or with the prayer, the deities are always there with you. How could you abandon? What is to abandon? Abandon where? Like even so you're always on the path. And I often tell this joke. The way I'm being slandered or defamed, even 100 Sangyen Lus committing suicide would not be enough. So that's why I never do any such foolish thing. Because there are too many slanders and defamations. My grandfathers came to Penghu, an island of Taiwan, from Fujian province in China. So that's also one of my hometown. There's a root there. So that's our original residence there in Penghu. So we could be considered a resident of Penghu too, before we moved to Chiayi. So there was a wealthy man of Penghu called Pai Wen-chen, and he was being slandered and defamed by the weekly magazine. So he went back to Penghu and climbed on that bridge, and then he jumped off the bridge and killed himself in the ocean. So he was only defamed once, and already he killed himself. But Grandmaster had been defamed for so many times, so, and 100 Sengyen Lus would not be enough to die for it. So that's why I live even happier. Because if you jump, then you fall into the trap, because they produce it such deformation is to make you suffer, right? So if you're really dead, then they would feel better. You think that by dying, your name would be purified. No. So there's no use to kill yourself. Never kill yourself. We all should face the challenges together. So one Sengyen Lu is good enough, and I live my life very happily. Doesn't matter how you rub against me. There is a grinder in hell that's really bad. It's like a really sharp knife. It's just shave on your skulls, and it's really painful. There's a hell like that. So you would suffer greatly. Wow. But it's okay. We are also the Vajras. The more they polish us, the shinier we get. See? Listen to the sky. They responded. They said, yes, yes, yes. So this Dharma practice could let you see the Buddha and the Buddha land. Because when the lights appear, everything could appear. Everything could manifest, including the Buddhas and all the Buddha lands. Did you hear that? The sky is rumbling. There are thunders. And they kept saying, yes, 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 yes. So a black gorilla step on the gorilla's poo, and then the other monkey very carefully clean him, and then they are in love and loving together. So how come the black King Kong and the gorilla are together? Or it's all just affinity? Oh, and actually the play of Chinese words, because Yuan Fen can mean affinity, but can also mean the monkey's poo. So look at the heavens, and I are responding. I have an affinity with Golden Mother. I have a spiritual response with Golden Mother, and I have affinity with Amitabha Buddha. So I gain spiritual response with Amitabha Buddha, and the same with Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. So what am I scared of? What are you scared of? Whatever you do, you have your Yidam, your Buddhas, your protectors. So what are you scared of? You don't need to be afraid of anything. You are fearless. So in performing the great perfection Dharma, and you show it, open it, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas around you, whatever you do, they're all spiritual responses. Isn't that great? Doesn't matter what you do. They're all done together with the deities, with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Whatever you do, you're seen by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the sky. So this is spiritual cultivation. So that's the merits and the benefits of the great perfection Dharma. You can see the radiance, and it is the swiftest way to Buddhahood. And you would be able to see for yourself the Maha Double Lotus Ponds, or the Lapis Lazuli realm of the East, or Western Paradise, and all the beautiful and perfect Buddha lands. They all would appear in front of you. And this is not a lie. We don't cheat and we don't trick you. So if you have spiritual response, you do. If you don't, you don't. You cannot fake it. So if you gain spiritual response, then you would never abandon your spiritual commitment. One day, Min saw Hua having a mirror reflecting upon the lake. And Xiaoming asked Xiaohua, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm fishing." "Oh, can you fish using a mirror?" "Yes. This is a new way to fish, and you would get rich soon." So Xiaoming asked, "Can you tell me how?" And then Xiaohua said, "Sure. Give me $100 and I'll tell you." So Xiaoming gave her $100. And then Xiaohua said, "Okay, have a mirror toward the lake, and the lights would be reflected upon the fish, and then the fish would die because there's a strong light, and then you can get all the fish." And then Xiaoming said, "That's impossible. That's nonsense. How many fish have you got?" And then Xiaohua said, "You are the fifth fish." So that's cheating, right? That's a trick. How could you fish using a mirror? So everything has to be genuine, has to be true. So there is a person who used their hands to catch fish and shrimps, and the fish and the shrimps are dizzy. Can you believe that? Master Lian Huo? Before we immigrated to United States, a group of us went to Ta Keng, swimming on a river there. And Master Lian Huo, when he extended his hand toward the shrimp will not run. Then he would be able to catch it, and the same with the fish. And the fish would get dizzy when he extend his hand. And then we asked him, how could you do that? And he said he had a line across his palm. So that kind of palm would generate a kind of power. So when he touched his shrimp, the shrimp would be dizzy, and then he would be able to catch the shrimp. So this truly happened. But using a mirror to reflect upon the fish, and the fish would be fainted and then floated on the water for you to catch. That's not possible. There's another joke. Someone called Nini. So Nini went to the zoo to feed the monkeys and throw peanuts at the monkeys. And one of the monkeys would push the peanuts into his anus before he eats it. So Nini found this monkey is really horrible. So she asked the guard there, why is that monkey doing that? Because last year someone threw a big peach, and the pit was too big, and he couldn't excrete the pit from the anus, and he suffered. So now he wanted to check that the food can pass through the anus before he eats it. There's no logic here, but it is related to spiritual response. So once you gain spiritual response, everything is fine. And if you don't gain spiritual response, then nothing will do. So in our spiritual cultivation, it's first and foremost to gain spiritual response with the deity. The wife asked the husband, these days, in sleep you often talk and you always complain about me. And the husband said, are you sure that I was dreaming? A true spiritual response is not dream talks. Oh, Mani Bear Mi Hum.